Welcome everyone to episode 4 of MC True Long Island Story. I am your host, the internet champion, always ready, Matt Cardona, aka the man who at FWF Live is going to reboot some personality into VSK's face. And I actually bought, take a shot. I bought VSK's shirt. I'm wearing it right now. I want people to know about him because I want to build my opponent up before I beat him. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Classic. Yeah, classic. By the way, I am also here, producer of the show, Smart Mark Sterling. And are you aware that is a George Feast designed shirt you're wearing right now? George Feast of the Major Pod Network and the Game Marks podcast designed that shirt. He's a great designer. Well,
I bought it. I'm going to buy something VSK. And none of his shirts actually stood out to me. So I'm like, I guess it's the best one.
Right. Well, George
but VSK, guys, if we don't want to plug right away, but FWF Live, April 8th. Let me just say this. I'm working on getting some Z True Long Island Story guys to show up.
Oh.
So let's see what happens. This is the Major Wrestling Fever Podcast, Major Pod Network wrestling show, April 8th. We'll give you more details later, but it's myself versus VSK in the main event for the Creative Pro Heavyweight Championship, and I'm very, very excited.
It's going to be like a pay-per-view type deal, and me and Brian just got jumped at Creative Pro by Bear Country. So
that was some BS.
We've signed and sealed that match is happening. Me and Brian Myers defending the Creative Pro Championships against Bear Country. All right, hey, a little bit of good housekeeping. Broski, are you aware that we made headlines?
That's in my notes.
This week for the MC True Long Island Story.
Yeah, so I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. I even told you, let's cut this clip. Not cut it out of the show, but let's cut it from the episode and put it out as a standalone clip.
Yep.
Because you know how people are on those dirt sheets. They just want those clickbaity headlines. Even you try to make it a little clickbaity.
I made it. The original headline was very clickbaity.
I said, Mark, pump the brakes on the clickbaity. Let's switch the words here. But then, of course, these dirt sheet writers spun it, making it seem like there was some big problems between us and Triple H and Undertaker. When I'm telling the story, I'm laughing about how funny it is. And yes, it was scary at the time and cringeworthy to say. But I mean, we were in the wrong, technically. Right. Different time.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people just used it as an excuse to complain or whatever. But I just thought it was funny because it's not like you held any ill will towards anybody involved. And all the heat seemed to go to The Undertaker here, but it was Mark Henry that made you guys go and apologize. So
for those who missed episode 3, go back and listen. But we tell this story how, I believe it's 2008, Brian and I are on our cell phones. Undertaker catches us. We have to apologize to Undertaker, apologize to Triple H. Go listen to the story. It's on our YouTube channel. But it's funny how these dirt sheets, they just want anything. You know what I'm saying? And hey, in this particular instance, I'll take it because it's publicity for the show. So I'll take it. I didn't even want to. Normally, I'd quote tweet it and be like, this is clickbait BS. But hey, keep tweeting it. Keep tweeting it. I want the listens.
This is the kind of stuff you get here on MC True Long Island Story. The other thing in that story, though, is that you mistakenly referred to Mexico as being overseas, and people, for some reason, were so mad at that.
You know what it is? Because we just call those the overseas tours. I guess they're international tours.
You're right.
So I just say overseas because when I think about us leaving the States, I just think overseas.
Like when you
that particular one is Mexico, right? So it was an international tour, not an overseas tour. I understand that Mexico is connected to the United States.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah. All right. You want to do the Broski of the week?
The Broski of the week.
Yeah, the Broski of the week. So every week, leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you can leave a review. Screenshot it, tweet it to us using the hashtag Broski of the Week. If I read your review on air, you will be the Broski of the Week, and I will send you an exclusive magnet and an 8x10. Sorry, I keep saying magnet. It's a sticker, guys. It's a sticker. And Mark, I sent you your sticker. Did you get it yet?
I didn't get it yet, no.
Okay. So here we go. The Broski of the Week is at Noah Likes Lego.
Okay.
He wrote, I wasn't able to be the Broski of the Week a decade ago, so hopefully I can achieve a dream now. Here is the review. 5 stars. Thank you very much, guys. Leave 5 stars. Yep. Not to make Matt feel old. Oh, no. But the Z True Long Island Story and the Ryder Revolution was a big part of my childhood that I cherish dearly. I remember popping big whenever Zack appeared on TV and would always guide him to the WWE Championship on the video games. I still have my Broski headband hung up in my bedroom. 3 episodes in, and this podcast series has been a fun romp into a special time in my wrestling fandom. What's a romp?
Like a party, like a.
Oh,
like
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Thank
actually,
you. You will be getting the sticker.
Nice, congrats, and Broski of the week. So tell all your friends.
Yes.
Question.
We're trying to include the fans. Last week I said, "Oh, we're gonna do the Are You Serious, Bro?" tweet of the week thing, and there weren't that many. So
Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna kill that idea or what.
Well, keep
Keep tweeting it.
That. Yeah,
keep tweeting it. But it wasn't enough to really like. None of them were that great to really deserve a prize. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get some more Are You Serious, Bro tweets. That review reminded me of something. When you played video games,
Yes.
I know you weren't really a video game person, but can you remember like really latching onto a guy in a video game and putting the rocket strap on him?
I can't really recall doing that. I got out of video games around like N64 because it got just too hard for me. But I would always create my characters.
Oh, yeah.
So I would create Brett Matthews, which went on to be my first indie name, my backyard name. I have a Brett Matthews tattoo on my leg.
So No Mercy, you were making Brett Matthews.
Yeah, and he definitely had like a goatee and barbed wire tat. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, 100%.
I used Jeff Hardy. I remember No Mercy specifically. I think I won all the belts with Jeff Hardy. But at the time, like he was still a tag wrestler, but I was like, oh, he's going to be a single star.
And he became one for sure.
I knew it all along. All right. Any other follow-up before I talk about your tweets?
That is all I have for follow-up from episode 3. Episode 4 is a good one. I texted you off air. I said, this is a good one.
Yeah. Legit lols from me while watching it. I'll tell you.
Me too. And it was my stuff.
10 years later, though, it's kind of like new stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Tweets. 10 years ago, Matt Cardona, or Zack Ryder, the next episode of Z True Lying Story may be the best yet. My guest is great. Check out the previous episode. So you're promoting well on Twitter. Matt Cardona, if you tweeted a pic wearing my shirt, DM me your address so I can mail you an autograph. I'm not.
Oh, so the promotion is still going on.
Right. Then you write, I'm not following you for fun. Thank you. And it's like, okay, you're a heel back then, so I get it, but that's also so you.
Well, yeah. I think the plan was you have to tweet it, I follow you, and then you DM me because they can't DM me unless I follow them.
Right.
So what I would do is I would do the follow, get the address, and then unfollow.
Right, of course, yeah.
And this worked great for the T-shirts. It was a disaster years later for the Hosky song because I did something very similar, like tweet a screenshot of you, right? But the problem is
people were stealing the screenshot.
Right, people were stealing the screenshots and ruining it for everybody. So in that particular case, I wasn't sending them an autograph. I was just giving them a follow, right?
Yep.
And then so it was a combination of people doing the screenshot gimmick, which I didn't even think of. Like, I think a screenshotting was kind of new back. Imagine that. How many times a day do you screenshot something, send to your friends?
Oh my God.
Right. But back then it was kind of new. Right. So like if someone was photoshopping themselves wearing a shirt, like I could catch that. And maybe some slip through the cracks, but I would say the majority of the time I was able to catch it. When you're screenshotting that you have like a song playing on your phone, it's impossible to keep up with that. Yeah. So but between that and then just people just like, I hate to say this, but annoying me on the DMs, I had to like just stop doing the promotion and unfollow everybody because like it was getting too much.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I actually infamously did buy that song and tried to get a follow from you and was kind of mad that I didn't get it.
Did you know that this past weekend I was playing it a lot and I actually wrote like a version 2 because Chelsea was kind of upset that I didn't have a song for her, like a little offended. So actually today, I was writing Hosky version 2. Now this is a rough cut. Okay. Would you like to hear it, Mark?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I have it in my notes. Now it's more going to be like saying as opposed to singing.
Okay.
So this is Hosky, like the remix. Okay. You're not a Hosky.
Okay. She's the forever Hosky is what she said on our bonus pod.
Oh, maybe it's forever Hosky. Okay.
Yeah.
When I met you, girl, it was on our first date. We had a good time, but the sushi wasn't great. At first, I was nervous. I wasn't acting like me. Wasn't sure if your type was a bro with a bum knee. When I met her, I just got knee surgery and was hobbling.
Yeah.
I know we are soulmates like Bud Light and Lime. I need you to be my girl to the end of time. You were my girlfriend for a couple of years, and if you leave me, you'll leave me with nothing but tears.
Aw.
Roses are red and violets are blue. If you leave me, girl, my heart will have a boo-boo. I won't let you move on and find yourself a new broski. I want you forever because you're not a hoskie.
Bro, you going to do this at the wedding?
Because then I need the rap. I need it all.
Yeah.
I might have to do it at the wedding.
Yeah. In like
I think we play the regular one, like the video, so people know it.
Yeah.
And then I come out in the white and I perform it.
Yes. Yeah, but now you can't tell her that you're doing this. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this.
And she doesn't listen.
Okay. All right, here's a good tweet.
Okay.
At Matt Cardona. Yes, I made the true story of WrestleMania DVD. Ha ha ha. And then you showed 2 pictures. I don't know what the 2 pictures were, but I also think this is so you because you're excited about making a DVD. And it probably was just like a small screenshot or something.
Yeah, I can't recall. It's so funny you say that like Twitter like wasn't even using their own program to upload photos.
Insane.
So weird.
Insane. Headed back to Long Island, got a few days to tan, get zacked, and work on my new episode of Z True Long Island Story. Woo ×3, you know it. I thought this was interesting because this was your life for 2 years. Fly home, tan, work out, work on the episode, fly back to TV. Right?
Yeah, and even before this YouTube show, I realized the power of social media. And a lot of that, and listen, I'm not saying like I was, like so like I wasn't predicting what was going to happen. I just think I was like a young kid using the program. So like I would end every tweet with WWWYKI, and that's like before a hashtag was a thing. I would use it as like a hashtag, if you will. I remember I had like all Twitter gear with like at Zack Ryder everywhere, and like the back of my ring jacket had tweets on it. Like this is before. It was a real thing. Even before like WWE, I don't even think Twitter was real when this happened yet, or didn't exist yet. Like WWE had their own thing called the WWE Universe, because they didn't want to use Facebook or Twitter was around. They wanted to create their own thing.
Tout.
So,
which we'll talk about later.
Tout, what a disaster. But the WWE Universe, so we would have like status updates. And even if you watch, it's a woo Zack Ryder one-legged tights. I had pitched this to do that when I would come out, that my WWE Universe status update would come up on the screen. And it said something like, I can't wait for the new Backstreet Boys album. You know what I'm saying? And this was so, not to Barry Horse myself, but this was so ahead of the time because now the tweets come up all the time.
Yeah.
This is like 2009. It's not even a tweet. It's a WWE Universe status update.
Right.
So I think I realized early on, like, if we're using this stuff like in real life, we need to use it on TV.
Yep.
And if we can cross, your real life and your wrestling character into one, you're going to get fans that may not necessarily have been your fan. Yep. That's what this show is about. So if you like Star Wars or like geeky stuff or whatever, this guy's pretty cool. He's not the guy who just loses on Raw.
Or making insider jokes, which we'll talk about in a second. What that made me think. So you say you recognize this. Were you doing any kind of like marketing study? I know that you watch Gary Vaynerchuk now, guys. If you're interested in entrepreneurship at all, or business, or anything, or just having a fun, happy life, Gary Vaynerchuk is the man. But we often share things back and forth. He's just like a master teacher of marketing and things like that. But back then, were you thinking of Twitter or these marketing things as part of the business, or it's just like intuitive for you? Or were you researching it? Were you reading books, reading people, studying?
No,
people?
I was not reading. I was just trying to think like, okay, like if Matt Cardona, the kid, if you will, is on Facebook, or this is before Instagram, but whatever, why can't I use it as Zack Ryder, but how Matt Cardona would do it, or at least blend them?
Got it. Okay.
And
then later on, we'll find out from all these marketing people that it was smart. Very smart. I challenge at Snooki to a tanning contest on Raw. I was wooing long before MTV's Jersey Shore. Thus, I have the experience advantage.
So I guess maybe this is. She does come on Raw. Did it say I challenge or I challenged?
I challenge.
Okay, so maybe she didn't come on Raw yet, but they announced that she was going to be there.
Right.
Maybe that's the next week. Because I remember she was there and we do something. That ends up, they put it in my Titantron. And it's there for like so long, like Snooki counting my abs or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to like pull that clip up.
Yeah.
All right. Before we move on, I want to talk about the matches. I have a very important question with your matches. Busy week for you this week. Let's hear a little word from our sponsors. And we're back. All right. This week, you put up the show on March 3rd,
Okay.
last week, episode 3. You fly out to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and you lose to R-Truth house show.
Okay.
You then travel to the Parish Coliseum in Alexandria, Louisiana, and you lose to R-Truth at a house show. Then you travel to the Reed Arena at Texas A&M University at College Station, and then you lose to R-Truth. So that's 3 matches in a row, 4th, 5th, 6th to R-Truth. And then at TV on Monday at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, you win against Vladimir Kozlov
I
in
saw
3
this.
minutes.
What a fall from grace. I texted this to Hawkins. He said, what a fall from grace. Like Kozlov main eventing against Triple H and Undertaker. 2-3 years later, losing to me on Superstars.
Right. And I just thought it was funny because we told that story last week about you having to apologize to the main event guy.
Yeah. I love Vladimir Kozlov. Oleg, he was someone who was in Deep South with us. Super cool dude, super great dude, jacked up. He wanted it. Very entertaining. I just think that like I don't know what went wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like was he technically bell to bell, a 5-star match quality guy? No, but he was a monster. He was a beast. And he ended up being very, very entertaining. And you see that later with Santino.
Right. Sometimes with those beasts, you just like there's a shelf life almost. Like they come in, they beat everybody, then they have to lose, and then after that, like a lot of.
And then what do you do?
Yeah, the luster wears off. So a couple questions. This is a Louisiana loop into Texas. Do you remember anything about that? This is 4 trips.
I mean, that was the typical schedule, you know, the weekend of live events and then TV. My routine always, you land on a Friday, get something to eat, find a gym, you know what I'm saying, do the show, get out of there. I'm a big get out of there guy. I like to make it to the next town. I know some people like to stay and drive the next day. I don't care if the drive is 1 hour or 5 hours. I want to drive at night. I want to get over with. I want to wake up and be in the next town and then repeat. Find breakfast, find a gym. You know what I'm saying? And that was just my life for so many years. You know, that was just it. To the point where like this past year, I almost had to like recondition my body because I'm so used to going to bed at 4 o'clock. You know, you get in 2, 3, and you can't just instantly go to sleep because you've been drinking coffee all night to stay awake at the wheel.
Right.
You can't just crash when you get home, you know, when you get to the hotel. So now, like this past year, not wrestling as often and not being on the road as often because of the pandemic, you know, it was hard for me to like, oh my God, be in bed at 11? I'm usually at meal 5 by 11, have meal 6 at 2 a.m. at a Denny's.
Right. Okay.
So I had to like recondition my whole body. And then speaking of conditioning my body, Sunday nights before TV is like, I feel bad for that hotel maid because there is tanner everywhere. There's body hair everywhere. That is my day to nair everything, veet everything, spray tan.
Theoretically, after the house show, though, right?
Yeah, I do it for TV.
Yeah.
I do it for TV.
All right. Now, the R-Truth, 3 matches against R-Truth. I know this is typical, but talk to me about R-Truth. Maybe now you have any good R-Truth stories or
R-Truth is one of the absolute best. He gets it. I think he's very underrated. First of all, the man does not age.
No.
Right? Like
It's insane.
he still looks the same. Every time you think his career is over, he reinvents himself, becomes hotter than ever.
Right.
I always loved working R-Truth. I have to assume this was like opening match or one of the first matches on the show, so the fans are really, really hot. Super, super fun and easy to work. Super cool dude. I loved it. And usually that's how it works, right? The Friday show, you have a match, and you kind of perfect it the next two days or so. You know what I'm saying? So it always gets better.
Yeah. And so it's kind of perfect. Like heel douchebag guy comes out, people boo. R-Truth comes out, people rap with him. Right? It's like a perfect house show match.
Yeah, and like R-Truth's one of those guys, like I don't know if that happened on this particular incident, but if he comes out rapping, you jump him from behind, ding, 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 instant heat. You're in the heat.
Yeah.
You want to see the comeback. Such an easy formula.
And you feel like you wrestled him a lot. Did you click with him? Things like that.
Yeah, I clicked with him big time. How could you not? He's just so good because he can do anything. He can have a comedy match or, have this barn burner, this work rate match.
It's crazy how far he goes back too, with
Get rowdy.
Original WWE run, then the TNA run, and it's pretty wild.
Right.
All right. For what's going on TV, that Friday on SmackDown, March 4th, Cody and his dad are feuding with Rey Mysterio. They're going to a Mania match. Edge and Alberto Del Rio have a contract signing for Mania. And then we get a beatdown of Edge, but Christian makes a save. That's SmackDown. On Raw, Dolph Ziggler is just arriving to Raw after being fired by SmackDown.
Okay, so we were discussing this. There are different brands.
There are different brands, but somebody actually pointed out a little follow-up. The tag team or the champions could be on both shows.
Okay.
So when I was talking about Nexus being on whatever it was the other day, I think they were the champions. Yeah.
Got it.
So Dolph Ziggler is just arriving. CM Punk is leading the Nexus, and now Miz and John Cena are shooting an angle in the main event of Raw for Mania. They mention The Rock in this angle. Miz beats down Cena and then gives him the people's elbow.
Okay.
Two things. Dolph Ziggler coming over to Raw. Were you already friends with him?
Yes.
Would you be like, oh, great, now we can travel?
Yeah, we bonded, I guess, in OVW. Because when I went to OVW as the Major Brothers, he was there, like Spirit Squad was dead.
Yep.
So he's like trying to rebuild, refine himself. Eventually he goes to FCW, becomes Dolph Ziggler.
Okay.
But at this point he's back as Dolph Ziggler. And I remember the first day that I'm the woo-woo-woo guy, I was staying with him and Paul Burchill, or riding together. And I had to go to Walmart for something. And they convinced me to go to the arena dressed like with the collar popped, the spiked hair, the headband, the glasses. And I remember I had to go into Walmart for something and I'm like dressed that way and I was so embarrassed.
I always thought that you just like dressed like that.
No. Especially in the very beginning, like the woo-woo stuff and that look. At first I'm playing a character and then it becomes me. So like even the way I do the hair is differently. I don't have like the blowout. I'm just spiking it.
Yep.
Eventually I make it so it's not like an act.
Right. Got it. Now the last question is, Miz is the champion heading to Mania to have the match with Cena. Are you guys friends here?
Yes. Myself, Ziggler, Morrison, Miz, we called ourselves the new clique. Okay. We were buds. I was super happy for Miz. I just filmed a WWE 24, like a little sit down interview for Miz. And
you just did it?
Just did it like this past week.
I had no idea, really.
Yeah. And like I'm busting his balls half the time, but the other half I'm talking about how proud of him I am and how, I saw the Miz when Brian and I got called up to the main roster. At this time, Miz is hated, right? Like hated, kicked out of the locker room, hated. Like that's heat.
Yeah.
Kicked out of the locker room heat. And in that time, it wasn't a smooth transition from developmental to the main roster. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now, if you're on the main roster, they play your music, the fans know who you are. You have action figure. It's different. It's not developmental anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Back then, totally different. They didn't want you to be known, just in case they switched you to something else on the main roster.
Yep.
So when Brian and I get called up, you can't just change in the male talent locker room. You need to ask. You need to be invited in. So we're changing with the extra talent, and Miz is as well, if not changing in like a janitor's closet. So that's how I originally bond with Miz, is because he's like the locker room and we're not allowed in yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was always a big fan of Miz because I loved the Real World Road Rules Challenge. Did you watch that stuff?
I've seen it. I wasn't a big fan of it though.
I see. All right. And on TNA, by the way, Ric Flair is wrestling Matt Hardy, and Rob Van Dam and Sting are defeating Jeff Hardy and Mr. Anderson in the main event. Okay, here we go. Episode 4 of Z True Long Island Story. Let's get into it. No music right at first.
No music, but new logo.
New logo. Okay,
And this is the logo that sticks for the entire series. This is the logo that is spoofed right here.
Right.
It becomes, I don't know, I don't want to use the word iconic,
Right.
but it becomes the logo.
I didn't even really notice. I'm colorblind, so if it was like slight changes, I don't see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's very similar to the past weeks. It's just slight differences. And Steve Zitkos, of course, was the one who did that.
So he kind of like perfected his original.
Yeah, and I also want to say we have an open. Scott Stanford.
Yeah, so
Emmy award-winning Scott Stanford, who
okay,
becomes a huge staple of the show.
right. So let's I'm going to settle in here. Let's talk about Scott Stanford. How'd you get him? Or were you friends with him? What's your relationship?
Scott was somebody who would be calling the Superstars matches, like the commentator for Superstars.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I believe it's him who came up with the name Broski Boot.
Huh.
Yeah. So
he just said it on TV.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, if he's calling your matches, I can tell him, hey, say this or say that, or he's coming up with things for me, which is great. So we kind of bonded over that. And also we were bonding over the fact that like I wanted to be on Raw. He wanted to be on Raw.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why he did this particular episode, but it clicked and it worked. And then we go on to do like tons of skits throughout the whole series.
He's one of the biggest characters, yeah.
He's one of the biggest characters, 100%. Scott's a great guy.
We'll definitely get him on at some point.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't want to like jump the gun and get into all his segments because some of them are comedy gold. And it got to a point where, not that he was annoying me, but he would come up with all these elaborate skits.
Right.
And I get it, to involve himself, sure. But a lot of them helped me so much because they were so entertaining. And if someone asked me about Z Trolling on Story, they'll bring up one of those skits.
Right. And then would he get heat at all for doing stuff like this with you at all?
I don't think anyone knew. You know what I'm
Early
saying?
on they didn't, but later on?
Even when
later
the show
on it was so
taken off,
popular, then they could do it.
Right. But even when it was so popular, I don't think anyone was really watching it.
Got it.
Like Office-wise. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like the fans were.
So you jump right into talking about Charlie Sheen, which, whoa, man, this was like one of those bombs that went on in my brain that reminded me that weird period of time where Charlie Sheen was so popular with the winning and the tiger's blood crap.
Right.
Like he basically went nuts.
Right.
Said some insane things. People thought it was so funny that he was like viral for like 6 months.
Right. And it was very, very topical. I also learned how to edit in pictures. I put the Major League logo.
Impressed.
Yeah. Put in the Major League logo. I put in a Major Brothers promo.
Yeah.
I say like where we don't have anything in common because I'm not winning, you know, again, making fun of myself.
Yep.
And then we talk about that he has the tiger blood and the Adonis DNA. And I say, well, I have an Agent Adonis figure. Right. And I hold up the LJN Agent Adonis.
Which makes the 4th episode out of 4 that you...
I didn't realize there were so many figures until now.
Have an action figure. It just makes sense, man. It's in your blood, and it's always been.
And it was just, like I said, a topical thing. Like, that was my goal. How can I take what's going on in pop culture and in wrestling, apply it to me, and make a joke, whether it's a joke at myself or in general? I just wanted to be entertaining.
What would you do before you were scripting? Would you, like, pull open Yahoo News or some, like, I don't know, like TMZ or something? See what's like
I wouldn't go looking for things to talk about. Like, things that were there, I would do. You know what I'm saying?
Got it. So then you say this, and this is something that became so infamous with the show, these like sort of insider jokes, but you never did it. So then you go, people want me to shoot on this. So, okay, I'm going to shoot. So you kind of think like, oh,
Here it comes.
here he's gonna shoot, but then you're just in a Han Solo costume shooting. So much to unpack here. Number
First of all,
one,
Han Solo, bro.
Han Solo, bro.
I also learned how to do the Star Wars scroll because it's one of the generic options though in iMovie.
Okay,
Yeah.
you did it. I thought okay,
Yeah.
so that's great. This Han Solo costume, did you just have it or you go out?
I just had it. I think it was Han Solo like the year or two before, so I had it.
Okay.
You're
You're shooting this awesome Han Solo gun.
Yeah.
You say something funny on the screen. You can, if you're watching this, the shots up on the thing. You then, so Star Wars though. At this point, are you really collecting Star Wars? Are you collecting
No,
Star Wars?
I'm not collecting. No. My toy collecting habits at this time are like extinct.
But you love Star Wars though.
Yes, I love Star Wars. Like I have all the LJNs and Hasbros and the Bone Crunchers, but I sold off. I had the Great Purge of 2009 once Jax lost the license. So I believe I was also collecting at this time. Mattel had Ghostbuster figures, so I was getting them because this was the first time any company was making movie Ghostbuster figures.
Right.
So I was getting those and keeping those mint on card, and I still have those. But I wasn't actively collecting Star Wars figures or anything. Listen, anytime in a Walmart or Target, I always check out the figures, 100%. I was still on the Wrestling Figs message board, 100%. Still checking the new figures. I just wasn't collecting.
Got it. All right, then you congrats Chris Jericho for being on Dance with the Stars. You mentioned the book, and then you say...
Another plug for the book?
Yeah. But you say, but I have some sick dance moves if you want to learn. So then you cut to you wearing this clothes, but you're just playing Sandstorm, which is like... I don't know how there isn't like copyright issues, but maybe it wasn't loud enough or something. But
right, because I'm playing it in the background. I'm not editing it in, you know.
Right. But so are these your moves? Did you have to do many takes for this?
I don't know how many takes.
You're doing funny dance moves here.
Right, I'm doing like fist pumping. I'm doing the Thriller, the Macarena, like typical heel. Like if you're dancing in a wrestling show, you'll do the Macarena or the Thriller. You know, it was like I wasn't trying to be a good dancer. I was trying to be entertaining.
Right. Yeah.
And again, Jericho, topical in wrestling. Now I'm trying to, how can I fit in? Oh, well, not only do I write the forward, but I can, I'm supposed to be this LI club guy. I can do some dance moves.
Right. Okay. Then this is the best joke of the thing. Another thing that really sort of becomes famous in the show. You say Zack Ryder President Obama should talk to Zack Ryder because you're doing something about unemployment.
Why the unemployment rate in the United States is so high is because Zack Ryder is doing all the jobs.
Right.
And then you're thinking like, oh my God, he's talking about wrestling and doing jobs. And no, like I'm an underwear model. I'm a chef. I'm a plumber, and like you see me like
legit
like plunge in the toilet.
When you go, I'm a plumber.
Yeah.
You're legit low. Hilarious.
So that came up. I had come up with this joke. I want to say it was either a couple of weeks or a couple of months prior. Anytime in WWE backstage before Raw or SmackDown, and there'd be like a meeting about something, right? Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis would be like, all right, so-and-so. He'd call someone up, tell a joke. So you'd have to stand up and like tell a joke. So I always kind of had one ready to go. Always ready, right?
Right.
And that was the joke, like, why is the unemployment rate in the United States so high? Because Zack Ryder's doing all the jobs.
And did you ever have to say it in front of the crowd?
That's what I'm saying. I said it.
Okay, and then
I said it in one of these meetings. It was a hit.
Oh, okay.
It was a hit. So I knew it was funny.
Yeah.
I'm not a comedian by any means, but I knew that was funny.
Yeah.
And I knew in this show it would work perfectly. I knew it already was a home run with the boys. And if it's a home run with the boys, 9 times out of 10, the people are going to love it too.
Right. And then
but my goal was, I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be bitter. How can I make this funny? Oh, instead of talking about wrestling, I'm a plumber, I'm a chef, I'm an underwear model. And I think this was when I think because of the feedback from this, I'm like, I'm onto something here. If I can figure out terms and you think I'm going to complain, but then I do something funny.
Yep.
Like how could I get in trouble?
Yep.
Right. But then like, how could you not like me?
But it's perfect because it's a wink and a nod at the fact that about the real stuff.
Right.
And it's something that nobody does. Like nobody is talking out loud about how they lose. It's not happening. And you're
nowadays, like, oh my God, all the passive aggressive tweets, negative tweets on Twitter.
Yeah.
And trust me, you look up some 2012, 2013, you'll find some from me, I'm sure. But it's like, oh God, it's at this point, it's over. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was like cutting edge, complaining online in like 2013, 2012. Now it's like, give me a break.
Right. But you weren't even really complaining.
No, I wasn't.
All right. Now we get the debut of the Broski
debut
of the week.
The debut of Broski of the week.
What was the deal? Okay, so it's CM Punk, and
Right.
you make a wrist tape joke.
Okay.
And it's something about 2 broken arms. And I think there's a
Yes.
story that goes with this. But where does the Broski of the week come from? What's this inside joke that you make with CM Punk?
Honestly, I don't even know if I was going to make Broski of the week a weekly thing.
Yeah.
I think maybe, he's just the Broski of the week is CM Punk. And later becomes a weekly thing, which is a huge part of the show, a huge part of integrating the fans and connecting with the fans, letting them almost audition to be Broski of the week.
Yep.
As for the wrist tape story, we've told it a couple places. It's been told by others in various places. But for some reason in OVW, when Brian and I was there, we got in trouble for taping our fists. Okay, like a normal wrestler.
So you just, because you did it, you taped your fists. I mean,
Tape the wrist, tape the fist.
Yep.
I believe it was Johnny Ace or JBL or Taz. It was somebody who during the ECW days, because we were still doing ECW at the time, said like, you got to look tougher, because we're like white meat, baby faces, blonde guys, good looking guys. Got to look tougher. Maybe like tape your fists. So when we did it in OVW, we were kind of butting heads with Robert Gibson and Al Snow at the time, who were the trainers and the coaches. So like, you shouldn't be butting heads with them. Whether you think you're right or wrong, like you just shouldn't be.
Yep.
And we were butting heads, especially over this wrist tape incident, like taping our fists. I remember Robert Gibson said something like, what are you going to do in a tape fist match? Or maybe Al, I'm not sure who said it. What are you going to do? One of them said, what are you going to do in a tape fist match? And of course, Brian or I, snap backle, when's the last time you seen a tape fist match? Like something like, shut up, guys. Like me, shut up, Matt. Shut up, Brian. Like, not like we were in no position to stand up for ourselves or speak back. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And we were just so frustrated there because OVW, like the tag matches were insane. Robert Gibson, one of the best of all time. He's teaching us all these spots, and he wants these long, elaborate tag team spots, which is great. It's great. But then this is the time on the main roster where they're doing the strict 5 count rule. And if you're in the ring for more than 5 seconds, you're going to get DQ'd.
Yeah.
So it's like we'd be on the live events for OVW doing these crazy Rock and Roll Express style matches, but we couldn't apply it on TV. So what was the point? And it was just a frustrating time.
Okay.
It was a frustrating time because we're trying to practice the WWE style in OVW to get reps, and that wasn't working out. So it was just like a total mind, if you will.
Got it.
And then what had happened, this all kind of escalated over goddamn wrist tape. And CM Punk comes, who at the time I believe is ECW champion, right? He's ECW champion. Of course, he's got his fists, his wrists, his arms taped up.
Yeah.
And then Tony Atlas was there. And I think Tony Atlas, Robert Gibson, or Al Snow's, but I don't know exactly who saw what. But they're like, CM Punk now with his taped fists. So like afterwards, there's this whole meeting, and Tony asks like, "Looks like you have 2 broken arms." Like doesn't realize that this isn't a student in OVW. It's CM Punk, the ECW champion, coming down OVW to do a favorite OVW. So it just escalated. It was such a disaster. Like I remember it got to a point where there was a 3-way call with Johnny Ace, myself, and Brian, and I thought we were getting fired. It was a 3-way call, and like Brian's in the car, and like I didn't want to sit in the car because I'm with Brian. So like I walk into like this field, and I'm on the phone like thinking I'm gonna get fired over wrist tape.
But how did that connect with CM Punk? Like, so he fought back when they were like, you shouldn't wear this.
So he, in that same time, is coming down to OVW,
right?
Because he lived in Louisville, he was doing a favor for OVW.
But when
and
people
he's
say that
wrestling,
to CM Punk, does he like say shut up? Or?
Oh yeah, it becomes this huge argument.
Okay.
In front of everybody.
So he's basically saying like that's ridiculous. But then what happens on this call?
Oh, well, we didn't get fired, but I thought we were because we were talking back. So I remember then there's another live event. This is all taking place in like a couple of months span. So there's this event, live event in OVW where again we're taping our fists, and Robert Gibson says something to us, and I must have said like, "This is bullshit. You're kidding me. And I take my wrist tape off. He's like, you cussed at me. You cussed at me. And I'm like, okay, I shouldn't have cursed, but I didn't like say, F you, Robert Gibson. I said like, maybe under my bullshit or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I got in trouble for disrespecting my coaches. It was a disaster. It was just a horrible disaster. And I couldn't wait to get out of OVW.
So they just told you like, you can't do that on the call.
You
can't swear.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't a nice conversation.
Oh, okay. So you
it was like, I legit thought Johnny Ace was firing us conversation. And I'm thinking, I remember so vividly being in this field, thinking I'm going to get fired, thinking, oh my God, we didn't even get action figures yet.
Which, by the way, you and Robert Gibson are great friends now. So
yeah, and Al Snow too. I respect the hell out of both of them, and we were just being idiot kids. But I'm not making any excuses. We should have been listening to our coaches. We were being disrespectful.
Yeah,
we were just young and naive, but oh God, like once we got the okay to leave OVW, I was like, literally, I think we got. Let's say I'm making up days here. Let's say we got told we could leave on a Wednesday. I was gone on a Friday. Out.
Like with your stuff.
I left the couches, filled up my car and left.
Went to Long Island. Went back to Long Island.
I remember I drove home 12 hours. I went to a Wendy's and got like 50 chicken nuggets and just had them like by my feet and would just eat the chicken nuggets for 12 hours. Just got home.
Wow.
I just want to get home so bad.
What about Brian? Same thing?
Brian had a friend come down. They got a U-Haul and they drove too.
Great. Man,
just get out of there.
Very satisfying. All right. So then last week we talked about you having Buzz Lightyear on the show. This week you have Bieber on the show. So you have a cardboard cutout of Bieber. First of all, did you own that?
I bought it for this.
Okay, all right.
I bought it at FYE. I believe in the Roosevelt Field Mall. I bought it. I was a huge Bieber fan. And I knew I wanted to have the Buzz Lightyear conversation worked. So it was like, how can I do another conversation? I remember like, I'm sure they still exist, like Justin Bieber soundboards.
Yep.
And it's all phrases.
Okay. So who's playing the soundboard in the background?
Right. So my girlfriend at the time, we rehearsed it. So she was playing it as I'd ask the question. It was all rehearsed.
Got it.
Okay. And then I give him the T-shirt and plug the T-shirt at the end.
Great little conversation with Bieber.
I legitimately had that cardboard cutout out in my apartment.
Let me ask you this. You bought this Bieber. You feel like, first of all, this whole thing, the value of this is through the roof. Like this show in general. You pay? Did you pocket, like out of pocket, pay for a lot of crap over the
everything?
Couple
oh my
years?
God, so many things.
Yeah,
Even when WWE takes it over, and we'll get into that. Jesus Christ, I asked for a budget and I'm denied. I spent a lot of, forget how much time I spent on the show. I spent a lot of money on this show.
Costumes, whatever.
But I believed, and I still believe this, you need to invest in yourself.
I'm with you.
For others to invest in you. Yep. I believe that when it comes to wrestling gear or even the Major Wrestling podcast. Mark, you were there. We weren't making money. You were doing it for free. Right. And now look, because we took a chance and we bet on ourselves and we invested in ourselves.
Yep. I'm with you.
It paid off. But if you're not going to invest in yourself, then like, why should anybody else?
Yeah. We say that to people. I mean, all the people that work with us now were all people that helped us out when there was no like guarantee of compensation or anything like that.
Right.
There was no guarantee that any of this would lead to anything for you, but you bought that Bieber thing anyway. So
right. And I didn't return that like I returned the Buzz Lightyear.
Okay. And then at the end, you thank Miz for buying sushi, which I think is really funny because 10 years ago, the Miz was the champion going into WrestleMania. 10 years later, The Miz is the champion, or was, not going into WrestleMania, but was the champion around WrestleMania time. And 10 years ago, he's buying you sushi. 10 years later, he's doing the open for the Major Wrestling Figure podcast.
Right. It's so funny. We were talking about that, actually, and I said, and in both WrestleManias, I'm not booked.
You were talking with Miz about it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
But yeah, I wanted to incorporate my real life, like I said a million times, it's not like a broken record, on television. WWE champion The Miz is not friends with Zack Ryder. But I try to pull back the curtain, so to speak, a little bit.
Right. And I'm sure people love that crap.
Yeah.
All right. And then you end the show. First time, take care, spike your hair.
First time. And you know what? I think it was like off the cuff.
And that just becomes a thing.
Just becomes a thing. I'm anxious to see if episode 5 I even say it again.
Interesting. We'll check.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then at the very, very end, there's that woo 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 entertainment logo, which I think I was trying to take off.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on the Major Wrestling Fair podcast. Before Brian Myers and I got signed to WWE, the critique on us from independent promoters was that we were too WWE, wrestled the WWE style. And I'm thinking like, well, duh.
Right.
That's where we want to go. That's where we want to be. So our great idea was that we were going to become Myers and Matthews Entertainment and just flip the WWE logo and be heels, do WWE, even be more WWE, so to speak. I don't know if that means like just like working out and caring about, your profession. I don't know what that means, but
means having a heat.
Yeah. So that never happened. We never got to do that. So I still had that idea of spoofing the logo. So woo, woo, woo entertainment, WWE, add an extra W. I have it on some wrestling gear. I have it on some entrance jackets. And it never takes off because I think the show just took off faster than that could.
Yep.
I don't think it was necessarily a bad idea.
No.
And listen, not everything that I do on this show is a success. We will talk about that in a year with the DZ versus ZR stickers.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to try.
Podcast people know that. But.
You got to try. Even now, I've been saying a lot in interviews, like, not that, we had these handcuffs on us at WWE, but now, like, there's nothing holding us back. And I love taking chances on myself. I love working hard. I love, if I have this creative idea to make it happen. And you know what? I might fail. It might flop, but at least I had the opportunity to try because that's all I want is the opportunity.
Right. All right. Characters debuted in the show. Scott Stanford and Justin Bieber, I guess, kind of.
That's a second Bieber reference.
Right.
Episode 1, I'm singing to Bieber.
Yes, but his likeness appears.
Okay.
This episode is 313,407 views right now. It clocks in at 3 minutes and 56 seconds. It's the longest. And this is, Yes, You Have Action Figures, 4th episode in a row, and this is the first Broski of the week, and it's CM Punk. So I'm gonna track the Broskis of the week, see how many you do, and yes, I know you don't do them in every episode because there was one. I'm trying to look for a Broski of the week, and I just pick a random episode. I'm like, episode 43. Like, he's definitely doing it by now.
Right.
So then I watched the whole episode, and there was no Broski of the week. So I was like, oh, I guess he didn't do it in every episode.
If I didn't do it in every episode, it must have been because maybe no one sent in an audition video, or because like I was pressed for time or something. I'm not quite sure.
Right.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Yep.
But I just want to thank everyone who's been watching and tweeting along. Guys, if you could just do a simple retweet of this, it would be fantastic.
For sure.
And I think that's how we're going to do the Broski of the Week for this week. So if you can retweet, like a quote tweet of the pinned tweet, and put your Broski of the Week review in there. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to do some work, guys.
Yeah.
Make that review.
Which account are you talking about?
The Matt Cardona. I'll have the pinned tweet. If you quote tweet that with your hashtag Broski of the Week review, that's how I'm going to look for it. That's how you'll be eligible to win. I appreciate that. But we also have another prize for that Know Your Bro.
Yep. And before we go to that, I do want to shout out to D Freedom, who's been doing a lot of work for us behind the scenes, clipping out some things. And
yes, D Freedom, thank you so much.
Making
I
sure
sent him a Broski of the Week sticker. He's not the Broski of the Week, but he got the sticker.
Got it. Okay.
Broski
of the Week adjacent. All right. Well, before we do Know Your Bro, let's hear a little word from our sponsors. All right, Know Your Bro. Oh, man.
Every week, just ask us a question. It has to be about the episode we're about to talk about. So for next week, watch episode 5 of Z Trolling Island Story. Use the hashtag Know Your Bro, and Mark will pick a question. I will answer it here, and if we read your question on air, we will send you a Matt Cardona 8x10.
Okay. I, for some reason, did not copy what this guy's name is, but I do have the things screenshotted. But, so, I just watched episode 4 of Z True Long Island Story to get ready. for next week's MC True Long Island Story. And now I am listening to 2011 Bieber. Broski, was the Biebs ever in talks that you know of to appear at Mania or do anything in wrestling? Hashtag know your bro. Justin Bieber in wrestling.
Not that I can recall. I was genuinely a Justin Bieber fan. I loved it. I love that style of music. I was a huge Bieber fan. I had Bieber fever. I totally did. And a funny story is a couple years later, after this, he's playing at Madison Square Garden. And the tickets obviously like sell out super fast. But my good friend John Cena knew I was a fan, a believer, and was able to score me 2 tickets and like VIP tickets.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, oh my God, like I'm going to go to Madison Square Garden. I'm going to meet Justin Bieber. I'm going to see him in concert. So I'm thinking, like, I am so naive. I'm thinking when there's like a VIP for WWE, it's like, 25 people in a room. You go, you shake hands, take a couple pictures. So I invite this girl at the time. We go. I'm thinking, I'm going to press this girl. We're going to meet Justin Bieber, right? We get there to the VIP. First of all, the VIP line, I want to say hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And this is to meet Bieber. So the way it works, like, Bieber is so popular and there's so many people that you can't take a picture with him individually. They put you in like groups of like, I don't know, 5, 10, and you meet him at once.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, oh my God. So there's a picture online. I'm sure we can find it and put it in this episode where, and first of all, at this time too, it's all like teenage girls. Like at this meeting, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's Bieber, all these teenage girls, and then I look like I photoshopped it at the end, but I'm really there. Like I'm really there.
Too. Yeah.
I'm really there. Like I thought for sure, like, oh, I'm gonna get the picture with the Biebs. It's gonna blow up my social media.
Yeah.
I'm barely in the thing. Barely in the thing. And like as the security guards pushing everyone out, me included, I reach over, I'm like, hey man, big fan.
Oh my God.
Like, it was such like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Here's 10 people, whatever, 8 people, whatever. Here's a picture, next, 10 people, next, 10 people, next.
And that's the meet and greet, which is really weird. You don't get to talk. WWE, man, you can stand there for a while.
Well, it's also not thousands of people.
Right.
Wow. And this wasn't like this wasn't necessarily a meet and greet. This was like the VIP thing before the concert. So we had a show to do and stuff, Yep. He's on a schedule. But we had great seats, floor seats. I'm sure if you go through my social media, there's like videos of it. We could maybe put that in. Yeah. And I remember like somebody from his team came out and gave me like an autographed T-shirt. So I got my autograph.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I got it.
Do you still have that?
I'm sure I have it somewhere. But the concert was awesome. It was so I genuinely love his music. I do.
Right.
Just a funny story.
What's Justin Bieber doing nowadays?
He just dropped a single like last week.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Did you listen to it?
I did, of course. How do I think I know?
Okay. All right. By the way, that was Brian Chairs at Brian Chairs 7. You are the Broski of the week. I'm sorry, you're not. Take that away.
You know your bro. You're just getting 8 by 10.
Sorry, man.
Sorry, bro.
Excited. All right. ProWrestlingTees.com/major, WFPod, ProWrestlingTees.com/Matt Cardona. Today, I am wearing, for my wrestling shirt, the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast Boozin' with the Toys shirt that is actually available on
Collar and Elbow.
Collar and Elbow. So that's my shirt today. But we got plenty of shirts. It's a great way to support. Also, patreon.com/MajorWFPod. You can get these episodes early. And this week, particularly, it's up on Monday. We're recording this on Monday.
Right.
And this came out on Monday already. Video and audio is available on the Patreon there. And we're talking about maybe doing some bonus things in the future, but there's nothing on the docket right now.
Yeah, the most important thing, guys, if you could just tell a friend, retweet it. We just need as many eyes and ears on this as possible. The 5-star reviews, leaving the reviews, comment, everything. It would really, really be appreciated. The Broski of the Week headbands coming soon. I was very, very particular. It was hard to find the style I wanted, but we finally got them. They should be coming in soon. So Kaniki, thank you very much. And guys, we really appreciate just all the feedback, and we want to, we need you guys to be along for the ride. Because without you guys, the first show wouldn't be a success. Yep. And without you guys, this show won't be a success. It'll just be me and Mark talking about an old YouTube show, and that's
An
just
old
kind of
YouTube
weird.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
That's it.
All right. Also, guys, if you know anyone who works for Facebook, I'm trying to let me express this.
Yes.
I think I explained it last time that I was plugging my plugging my Facebook channel.
Yep.
Right. And then WWE made one, and everyone was going to that.
Yep.
And then when I got released, that one is gone.
Okay.
Okay. But then there was another fan, Zack Ryder, that had more followers than my Zack Ryder. So people, I think, were just typing in Zack Ryder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But that guy has since given me control of that one.
Yep. Great.
So if anyone from Facebook is listening, I need to combine both of mine, since I have two now, and like rebrand it Matt Cardona. So if somebody knows somebody at Facebook who could help me do this,
Facebook, but yeah.
I've emailed Facebook. I've tried.
Okay.
If anybody has any inside scoops, I'm not trying to get my WWE one back, which would be phenomenal, but I'm not trying to do that.
Right.
I'm just trying to combine the two that I have access to and rebrand it. That's all I'm trying to do. So for now, like me on Facebook.
Yep.
Follow me on Twitter.
Oh, baby.
Instagram's a thing now. Follow me on Instagram.
Yep.
And buy all the merch. And take care. Spike your hair.